You're listening to the Abolitionist Roundtable, patriotic Black American conservatism, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice, leading the charge in advancing the 4%. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Thank you so much for taking the time to get up early on this Saturday morning and joining Art of Michigan. This is a listener-sponsored broadcast, so please, if you're near your checkbook or your iPhone, please make a donation to artofmichigan.com. That's the website, and it's being developed very nicely. I don't know if you've been on the Art of Michigan website lately, but it's been improved, and I would encourage the audience to go to the website, check it out, and make a small donation so that we can stay on air. And that would be greatly appreciated by Phil, Del, me, and the ladies of the round table. You know, this is the 20th day of June in the year of our Lord, 2015. And the ladies of the round table are guest hosting for Phil, Del, and Janice. That's me, Janice. I'm here. And my good friend Gina from Lathrop Village is here. And our newest member, Allison from Grosse Pointe, is here. We're having a wonderful conversation. You know, we finished up an interview with Chris Ann Hall, and we thought it was important that we give out her website information again. That's Chris Ann Hall. That's KrisAnnehall.com, chrisannhall.com. And that website to her new project, A Remonstrance of the People of the United States of America, can be found at magnacarta.us, magnacarta.us. Now, it is June 20th, 2015, and did you know that on June 20th, in the year of our Lord 1632, that was just 383 years ago. I sometimes feel that old when I have to get up this early, but give or take 325 years or so anyway. But anyway, on June 20th, 1632, King Charles I of England granted the original charter for Maryland to Cecil Calver, 2nd Baron, Baltimore. Well, the land was actually more than the state of Maryland is right now. It was, I understand, 12 million acres, whereas modern-day Maryland is about 8 million acres. But think of it. King Charles, one man, granted prime land in the United States of America, granted, that's like gave land to one man of his choice, said and done. And that's because, you see, King Charles of England believed in the divine rule of kings, sort of like Obama believes in the divine rule of kings, sort of like Hillary Clinton and company believe in the divine rule of kings. In fact, for that matter, so do, it seems, about 99% of the swarms of public servants that we have in this country all of a sudden.
There's one difference, though, Janice. Obama doesn't grant it. Obama takes the land away.
There you go. Well, I'm sure he grants it to somebody. I mean, just like our tax dollars went to Solyndra and other organizations that he found favor with, as if he should be able to do that at all. So what are we going to do about this? Well, you know what? Our next guest, Mr. Larry Ward, Political Director for SOS, and that's Special Operations Speaks. And I say thank God, because the generals are finally speaking up loud enough to make a dent in the mainstream media's barrier that I spoke of earlier to this socialist takeover of our country. The mainstream media puts up a barrier to the resistance that might be able to get through to the people, and that's why these grassroots efforts are so important. I say that because this group, Special Operations Speaks, has been in existence since 2012, and I haven't heard anything about them before. So we want to give a warm welcome to Mr. Larry Ward. Larry, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know, this really is such a serious effort, and I do want to encourage the audience, if anyone knows of your group, Special Operations Speaks, and wants to join in the conversation, I'd ask them to call in again, 734-822-1600. That's our phone number. And in fact, we're listening to whamradio.com, found at 1600 on the AM dial. That's Wham Talk 1600. Larry, could you talk to us about some of what our special operations folks are doing to restore honor to the important role of Commander-in-Chief, and what can we do to help you?
Well, I'll start out by telling you, when we got started, this group of special operation veterans and special operation veterans historically, they don't get involved in politics. They serve in silence. They're relatively humble. They may get involved in politics, but they don't do so in under the banner of special operations. It was for a very important reason that they formed and decided to come out in this way, and that was in 2012 when Obama brazenly leaked the details of the Bin Laden raid and put our SEALs in danger. And they formed to stop the leaks, and that went forward, and then they opposed. Of course, they opposed Obama and his administration for re-election in 2012, and then, of course, Benghazi happened. And our SEALs are, we actually put out a meme right after Benghazi. It said, when Obama called the SEALs, they got Bin Laden, and when the SEALs called Obama, they got denied.
Oh my!
And now we know that not when Hillary called the SEALs, they got denied. When the SEALs called Hillary, they got denied. And the deal is that Benghazi happened. It's a terrible tragedy that has been covered up since day one. It's still being covered up. And right after the election, we were told that Benghazi was a dead issue. It wasn't going anywhere. That Obama won. Just give it up. And this group of special operation veterans would not give it up. So we stayed. They were only interested in forming for the leaks and the election and then being done with it. But they couldn't because they had to see justice served for Benghazi. So we pushed and pushed and pushed when everybody said Benghazi was dead. It was a non-story. It's old. Remember when the administration said, "Oh, this is it's yesterday's news," and we pushed and pushed and pushed until we got the select committee.
Well, if I recall correctly, it was Hillary Clinton who said, "What difference at this point does it make why
Absolutely.
these men were killed? Was it just a group of people running around thinking they wanted to kill some Americans? How dare her? How dare her?"
Absolutely, especially how deep she was involved in this.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing as we're learning more about this. She was right there. She was making the decisions, and now she destroys her server. Now we find out she has a private server. That any one of us would be in jail on the spot if we did something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we pushed and we pushed. We actually got 1,000 special operation veterans. This has never been done in history. 1,000 special operation veterans signed a petition with their name and rank to form the select committee. We printed them on a 60-foot by 4-foot scroll and unrolled it on the Capitol lawn.
God bless you.
And it finally got some attention. And again, we pushed until we got the select committee. And then, of course, the government shuts down in 2013, and Obama puts another thumb in the eye of our veterans and puts those barricades in front of the war memorials.
Yeah.
Well,
Disgusting.
we had not intended to do anything like this, but we decided to hold a rally behind those barricades at the World War II memorial, and 10,000 Americans and veterans showed up. And they tore those barricades down and they threw them at the White House.
So it was Special Operations Speaks that did that gallant effort that we all watched on TV to tear those barriers down. Thank God that you guys have come onto the scene, because I have long said, where are our generals? Why aren't they opposing this man? And in fact, the reason why I sought you out, Larry, is I understand you have a new operation that Congress must impeach Hillary Clinton and disqualify her from holding any U.S. office. And I think that's a fascinating concept, because I have long talked about the criminal nature of Hillary Clinton and company. And I'm so glad to see that you're doing this. Why don't you speak to this issue a little bit, Larry?
Well, absolutely, and this stems from the fact that Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, if she was still Secretary of State with everything that's come out with the emails and everything else, she would have been impeached. So we started researching. We understand how the impeachment process works. There's something called late impeachment. Late impeachment was fought for by the founders, and late impeachment was it was used in 1876 against War Secretary William Belknap. William Belknap was a Republican, so the Democrats did it. Took $5,000 illegally as a bribe from France, and was then resigned after he got caught. Well, they impeached him anyway. And, the circumstances of that case definitely show precedent, and not only show precedent, but it shows precedent for the same exact reason. Hillary Clinton has taken money into the Clinton Foundation from hundreds of countries around the world in the total of billions of dollars. It is absurd to think that Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State and as Senator for that matter, has abused her power, has taken in this money in the Clinton Foundation and given special favors to countries that are, abhorrent tyrants and violate human rights standards, just so that she could, fund her machine and put money in her pocket. You remember the same woman who said that, we barely could afford our four houses when we left the White House. This is a very disturbed and out of touch woman. So what our goal is to impeach her for the same reason, using late impeachment. And yes, it can be done. And if she is impeached, like you said, it holds two penalties: removal from office and disqualification from ever holding office again for the rest of her life. She will not be able to run for president. She will not be able to come back and run for Senate or anything else. She will be done in the United States.
Well, that's a really important step that you're taking, because I think that it is definitely a fact that this woman should not hold any office. In fact, I think that the only term she should serve is in a federal prison, quite frankly.
Amen to that.
Yeah, and, I understand that over 15,000 Americans have already signed on to your open petition, Larry.
Now it's almost 50.
50,000.
45,000 Americans have signed on to our petition and growing. You can actually check out the number at specialoperationsspeaks.com, and then just click on that first graphic with Hillary Clinton's "What Difference Does It Make" face, and you will see the petition. Then you can add your name there.